Friends of Mathematics, we're going to start our first video in the 4.6 section. This is video A, and we're going to talk about related rates, and we're going to overview what they are and talk about how to do them. So I guess we should probably say that before we start, there are really four different types. That we're going to encounter here at the University of Michigan. And we can say that one type is going to be some area or some volume type problem. We can have a Pythagorean theorem problem. We can have a problem involving some trigonometry. And then finally, we can have a similar triangle problem. Now, similar triangles, I think there's a little bit of a lack of remembering about what they are. So if I have two triangles, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this triangle ABC, and I'm going to have a similar one that's going to be nested inside, and I'll call this DEC. So I have triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEC. And what I could say is that the length AB is to the length BC as the length DE, so the vertical length is to the vertical, is to the length EC. What this means is we can write that AB over BC, those different lengths, equals the length DE over the length EC. Is to translates as division, and we can figure out one of these sides. This is not the only relationship. I could say that the big vertical is to the big horizontal as the small vertical is to the small horizontal. And as long as I have it set up nicely, it's going to give me the exact same relationship. And so I can say AB is to BC as DE is to EC. And that's our similar triangle idea. What we need to know to be successful doing related rates is that related rates are an application of implicit differentiation. That every single one of the variables that we're going to be talking about is going to be a function of some third or fourth variable. Will be a function of usually time, but I'll say another variable. So now let's talk about the steps necessary to do a related rate well. And step one is to identify information. What are the quantities? What are the rates? Focus on the units here. Step two is to make a picture. And the picture doesn't just have to have the rates. We want to see the actual variables. Use the variables from step one. Then we have to determine a relationship. And the relationship is going to be one of these four relationships that we've identified earlier. We can then take derivative. When I've taken the derivative, my next step is to solve for the unknown derivative. When we're done with that, we can use the time to determine this rate. At the instant we're looking. And now finally, we have to check to see if it makes sense. So I know that this seems strange that I'm giving you steps and I've given you the types and I've given you the applications before I've done one, but if we keep these things in mind, we can make some very fast headway concerning these problems. In the next video, we're going to start doing examples using these 7 steps, and we'll be doing an area volume problem, then a Pythagorean theorem problem, then a trig problem, and finally some similar triangle type problems.